Hi, I'm your astrologer, Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and this video is all about the full moon in Sag. The full moon is in Sagittarius, and I'm ready to party. We are ready for things to be finished, such as school, and many of us still vibrate to that school calendar, and for celebrations to begin. It's interesting that the full moon in Sag gives us parties, and the new moon, with both the sun and the moon in Sag, gives us holidays in the winter. Sages just love to have fun. This full moon takes place on June 4th at 3:41 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time at 13 degrees Sagittarius, 17 minutes. The sign of Sagittarius is male. It's ruled by the fire element. It's mutable and governed by the planet Jupiter. Now, the pull between the sun and the moon at the time of the full moon always causes some conflict between us and within us and our families. The moon is what pulls us towards the family, and the sun sends us looking outside our family for more acknowledgement of our talents. In this way, we feel that familiar pull of the full moon. But the signs involved color the experience a great deal. Gemini and Sag make us social. We want to engage with others. We want to have fun for sure, but we can also get bored easily. The tension between Gemini and Sagittarius can cause some of us to be a little prickly and sensitive to things that we don't like. There's also an urge to be with others. So where does that leave people in a relationship? Darling, I love you, but I have to go party my ass off for a little while. Please wait right here. I'll be back in 48 hours. Now, that would not go over well in most relationships. So there is our conflict. One or both of the people in a relationship are going to feel this Gemini-Sag pull for social connection, new horizons, bigger and better celebrations, new topics, new philosophies, etc. And the other person is probably not going to live up to this challenge. So we will have tension. With Sagittarius and Gemini, it always sounds too good to be true, and therein lies the rub. You can't have everything big or new all the time. Without a little downtime and without a little backlash or response to that big out there energy that Sag always brings, it just cannot be sustained. At the time of the full moon, the energy is at its peak. There is a culmination of everything that is creating your next new thing or reviving an old thing. The yin-yang energy of the full moon emphasizes the lunar versus the solar energy. These two luminaries stand across the sky from one another and bathe each other in their light. That is, the sun bathes the moon in his light, and the moon reflects that light back to the sun. The energy between these two is very different and yet complementary. Us humans feel this energy easily at the time of the full moon, which forces us to deal with unresolved issues. Between these two bodies, they shine a light on the darkness. This could be something we don't want to face, someone we don't want to face, or some other issue in our lives that should be relatively minor and handled during this monthly exercise. But for a lot of us, we put things off until they become a much bigger deal than they should be. The universe, in its benevolent wisdom, gives us the full moon 13 times a year in order to allow us time to resolve most of what ails us. And this is an excellent time to let go of negative patterns and toxic thoughts. This is the time of the month when you can work on releasing the wasted emotions of guilt, fear, jealousy, and disappointment. The trick is you have to identify it first, and that's what all this reflective energy is all about. During this full moon, the sun is sextile Mars. Here's the sun and here's Mars, and they're about 60 degrees apart, which is the sextile, which means that the moon is also trine Mars. So here's the moon and here's Mars. So 60 from 180 is 120, and that's a trine. Now, none of these planets are in particularly good signs. They're all a little weak. If anything, Mars is dominating because it's in a fixed sign. Mars will be lending its strength to the desire to get out, get up, and get going, which may just drive a wedge between most couples, and This Mars-Sun sextile will have been building for almost a week prior to the full moon. While the moon trines Mars, she also squares Saturn. So here's the moon, and here's Saturn in a square, in a 90-degree angle. So there are going to be some boundaries laid down, some new and improved boundaries that neither person has ever thought about before. Now, this will be happening to everyone, not just couples. So look to your close connections, your siblings, friends, neighbors, employers, congregations, etc. Any of these relationships will apply. Venus is making an inharmonious aspect to Jupiter. Here's Venus, and here's little Jupiter. And a great aspect to Neptune. Here's Venus, and here's Neptune, and they are in trine. Everywhere you look around the sky, there is a good aspect and a bad aspect, which means that a lot of things will still be canceled out. Nevertheless, some people who are sensitive to the degrees will feel the tension. There is a T-square forming between Jupiter, Pluto, and the two lunar nodes. Here's Pluto, here's Jupiter, and here's the nodes. Here's the south node, and here's the north node. Jupiter is conjunct the north node, opposing the south node because they're always in opposition to one another, and they neatly square Pluto. Yummy. Now this T-square is almost a grand cross because Venus is opposing Pluto. She isn't quite making the exact square with Jupiter needed to complete the cross, but her influence will be felt just the same, especially if you have planets that are sensitive to the early degrees of the fixed signs. That's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius. Jupiter is actually conjunct the north node. Here is Jupiter in the north node right here, which expands your possibilities and urges you to look towards the future, to new horizons. This is the remnant of that grand cross and T-square we had in May, so there may be some echoes to whatever was happening for you under those aspects. Now, Venus would soften some of the harshness of this aspect, but it can also bring out tremendous selfishness and indulgence when combined with Pluto. There is another T-square forming between the Sun, Moon, and Saturn. Here's the Sun, here's the Moon, and boom, at 90-degree angle, there's Saturn. The Saturn-Sun-Moon T-square will cause restrictions and the containment that I mentioned before, plus there will be some weepy confessions, some guilt trips, and a few manipulations due to the involvement of Venus with Pluto and Neptune. Oddly enough, Venus and Neptune connect to both of these T-squares, which means there will be a magical quality about resolutions or fallout from any actions or events caused by the former. So this could be a difficult moon that also has a predilection to huge power trips, aggression between warring countries or combative entities that cause us to wonder what will become of us or our family, our town, our state, our country. And emotionally, there may be a few casualties. So take care, love yourself and your family, and take it easy during this lunation. And now, we're going to move on to predictions for all the signs. I'm going to start with the fire signs since it is a fire moon, and let's get going. So the first sign up is Sagittarius. Sag, this is going to put the moon, the full moon, in your first house with the sun in your seventh house, which means that the focus is going to be on you and your presentation to the world, your desires, your goals, your dreams, but mainly you and what you are presenting to the world. This may be nothing more than you needing to get a new haircut or buy some new clothes or another piercing or a tattoo, or it could be deeper than that. It could be you really changing the direction of your life. So this may cause you to want to explore new vistas, new horizons, foreign lands, the internet, outer space, etc. Anything that has to do with your Sagittarius leanings. But you're looking at this and you're feeling this moon in terms of who you really are. So you may be deciding that you are someone else, that you are not the person that you've been up to this moment. And Sag and Gemini, being mutable signs, very often in their lives, they feel like they've just become different people. So this moon is going to affect you, how people respond to you, your physical body, how you feel about yourself in general, and let's not forget your partner. So the Gemini sun is going to be in your seventh house, reflecting back to you what's going on with your partner. Your partner is feeling robust and strong and is probably being pretty vocal about what they want, especially during this full moon. So you may feel like it's not your time to make these changes, or it's not your time to take these big trips. What I'm going to tell you to do for the healthiest thing, the healthiest way to handle this full moon, Sagittarius, is to make note of everything that you're feeling during this full moon. Make note of all the lands that you want to see, including if it's Mars or the moon or outer space, or if you want to start a blog, or if you want to start an internet business, or if you want to learn foreign languages or how to cook differently or something. Make note of all of these things. And then in a few days, when the moon is out of Sagittarius and onto Aquarius, which is your third house of ideas, that's the time to sit down with your partner, whether this is a business or romantic partner, and discuss all of your ideas. So sit tight, Sagittarius. Enjoy all the energy of this moon. Go to a party, enjoy your friends, take your loved one, and just have a ball during this full moon in Sag, because it's the one full moon that you get every year, and it happens at a glorious time of year. All right, moving on, we're going to go to the next fire sign in our lineup, which is Aries. So Aries, for you, the moon is in the ninth house and the sun is in the third house. And the moon is your emotions and your moods. So for you, like Sagittarius, you're really going to be dreaming about other lands, other vistas, new horizons, new things that you can explore. You may get a feeling of tremendous wanderlust. You may just feel like chucking your job and seeing the world, and that may be great if you're, footloose and fancy free. But if you have a partner, that partner is going to be also full of a lot of ideas. So what you want to do is sit down with your partner and really figure out, where do we want to go? Don't forget to include your partner in all these wonderful ideas. But just for yourself, if you're not partnered up, this is a great time for you to document all of your great ideas, to make lists of everything that you really want to do, because Sag, you may not have the means right now, or you might. But if you don't want to forget, when you finally do have the means, all the wonderful places that you wanted to see. Also, it's a time of great learning for you, Aries. This is a time when you can understand other topics easily. This is a tremendous time for you to teach or take a class maybe that you've been putting off for a while. Now, the moon in Sagittarius will only last for a few days, but starting something under this full moon is meaning that that whole saga, the whole project, will be sort of governed by this moon, where the sun is in Gemini, also a sign of learning, and the moon is in Sag, the sign of higher learning. So it's a wonderful time to take on a difficult, tricky subject, something you've always wanted to know about, but maybe just never granted yourself the time and permission to do it. All right, moving on to our last fire sign, which is Leo. Now, Leo, this full moon for you falls between your 5th and 11th houses. The moon is going to be in your 5th house. So if you have children, this is going to be a wonderful moon for you to enjoy those children. Now, the sun is going to be in Gemini in your 11th house. So if you do have kids, I'm guessing they're parts of groups, maybe teams for sports, or maybe community groups that they participate in things with. And you may participate too. This is a really good social time for you to be around people, to enjoy people, to exchange ideas, and to enjoy your children, or if you don't have children, to enjoy yourself doing things that are more physical. So playing sports or going on vacation, getting out of yourself. This would be a great time to take a little weekend getaway. The fifth house, where your moon is falling, also governs things like games of chance. So, going to a carnival or even going to Las Vegas or Atlantic City or anywhere where they have gambling. Sag, you would just enjoy the heck out of that. You would just enjoy it so much. Now, keep in mind that your partner is probably going to be the one who is more connected to the groups even than you are, unless you're unpartnered, in which case you're going to have to rely on yourself to be connected to those groups. And you may be, I'm guessing, a part of multiple groups because it's Gemini there. So you're going to have to pick one and go with it, Leo. Once you pick the group that you want to go indulge in, really indulge in it. Now, this could also be the time of for you, Leo, this could take two. Now, this could also be the time, Leo, where you choose to join some new groups because they remind you of things that you had fun doing when you were a kid. Or if you have children, it would be good for you and your kids. In other words, for family activities. So this is a really good time to be choosing these things for you, Leo. Your head is in the game. You're really thinking about other people, especially your kids at this time. And you, because you want to have fun during this Sagittarius moon. And I'm sure that you will. Now let's move on to the earth signs. First sign up is Taurus. Taurus, this full moon is occurring in your 8th house, where we're thinking about other people's money, and that other person is probably your spouse or a business partner. The 8th house has to do with things that have to be agreed upon when it comes to your finances, but it also has to do with intimacy, sexual intimacy, and things like taxes and insurance and bonds and big money, big investments, big things like mortgages and 401ks and things like that. So at this time, Taurus, you may be looking at changing those up and moving your investments or money towards things that are more global, more international, because Sagittarius is the sign of global things. So that's one thing that this moon is going to be having you focus on, Taurus, and you're not averse to focusing on finances and money and security, so you welcome this full moon. Now, the sun is also in your 2nd house, which also puts the focus on money. So you could even be dreaming about perhaps making a change, not just to your investments, but also to your actual job in your career. So that's something else that might be coming up for you. You may be looking at the benefits that you get in your current job and feel that they're just not enough for you, or they're just not quite right. If you're a business owner, you may be switching up the type of retirement plan that you offer your employees, or the type of retirement plan that you and your spouse contribute to. So it's all about the money, really, for you, this moon, Taurus. Although it can also be about your own resources and skills that you use to create more money or resources or income. So a little bit more complex than just, oh, it's about money. It's about all the things surrounding the money, Taurus, all the things that you think about the money, which is your security, your well-being, the way you make money, the way you invest money, the way you use money to bring about security in your life. So it's a kind of a many-layered topic for you. And I think you'll really enjoy this moon. You can have fun with this. Your mind is very agile when it comes to topics of finance. So I think you're going to enjoy this moon, Taurus. And let's move on to Virgo. Virgo, this full moon is going to occur between your 4th and 10th houses. So it's going to place a big emphasis on your home, the real estate the home is on, and your family. In addition, it's going to put some spotlight on your career and the balance between work and home. So Virgo, you do tend to be kind of a workaholic. You really throw yourself into any of the projects that you do. And this Sagittarius moon is just going to point out to you the many, many things that you may be missing at home and with your family. So I want you to think long and deep about what you can do to balance this more adequately. You have a lot of fun when you're at home. You enjoy your family, especially with this Sagittarius new moon putting the focus there. So maybe you want to plan a holiday or a weekend for your family so that you can get a little joy in with those kiddos. Also, with your career, you may be up for some sort of a bonus or a review or a raise or a promotion with the sun going through your 10th house. And that's going to be for the whole season of Gemini, Virgo. So I just wouldn't be surprised if you got some kudos at work, had a lot of love from the kiddos at home, and that you're really going to enjoy this full moon as well. And on to Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. So this full moon falls in your 12th house, Capricorn, which is a place that you don't go very often. Although, if you're one of those darker side Capricorns, you may go there quite a bit. The moon in the 12th house often stirs up funny dreams, imaginative dreams, especially in Sagittarius. You may find yourself dreaming about Sagittarius things like foreign lands, foreign cultures, people you know in foreign lands, people who live far away from you, things like that. So you may find for this moon that you're really kind of working on the subconscious level and taking into account things that maybe you should have dealt with already. And I'm talking about old wounds, old traumatic wounds, old emotional scars, things like that, like baggage from old relationships. Like, gee, I really should have dealt with that. I should have had a talk with them. I should have found closure, or maybe even gone to therapy, something like that. So this moon is going to be dredging up a lot of that stuff from the subconscious for you, Capricorn. And it's not an area that you usually like to spend a lot of time on. The sun is in the 6th house. So you're going to want to be focusing on things having to do with your daily life and work, your routine. So you may be starting a new workout routine, or changing your diet, or changing the way you drive to work, or changing the way you connect to work remotely, or you may switch from being remote to going into the office. Things having to do with your everyday routine and health are going to be your desired focus, but that moon is going to be niggling away at your subconscious, and you're not going to be able to ignore it. So Capricorn, rather than ignoring it, I would suggest that a few days before, or even from this point on, because I've released this video with time enough before the full moon, so that you can spend about a week doing some shadow work, doing some meditations, doing some healings on yourself, so that by the time the full moon comes up, you'll feel that peak of energy come to a head and release. And that's the goal of the full moon, really. You can acknowledge what energy has come about, and it usually will have come about since either the previous new moon or full moon, depending on the kind of thing that you're trying to resolve. And then you get the release at the time of the full moon, because there's so much energy, and you release it out to the universe and allow it to transmute if you're releasing negative things, or you just allow it to be out in the universe if it's something that's good for you. So that's what the moon's going to be doing for you, Capricorn. And now we're going to be moving on to the air signs. So the first air sign up is Gemini. And of course, the sun is in Gemini. So this full moon is going to be impacting your 1st and 7th houses. So much like the people who have Sagittarius rising, you are also dealing with the same axis. Now, it's the sun in the 1st house and the moon in the 7th house. So it's a little bit different emphasis, and let's talk about both of them. So Gemini, this is all about you in relationship. How do you deal with others? Other people that you like and other people that you don't like. Because the 7th house, and the house is the relationship, also deals with open enemies, not just loved ones or business partners. So you may have a best friend that you're partners with. You may have a lover or a spouse that you're partners with. You may have a business partner, but you also may have some enemies there, or even frenemies, and they would also fall into the 7th house. So this moon is going to emphasize your relationship with them and what you want to accomplish with them. And being that the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, what you're trying to accomplish will be expanded. You're trying to expand things. You're trying to go further with things. Maybe you want to take a trip with your best friend or your spouse to a foreign country, or maybe you want to learn a foreign language, or maybe you want to learn a foreign language before you go to a foreign country with them, or maybe you just want to take your relationship with your spouse or your lover or whoever to the next level. Or if it's a business partner, you want to take your business to the next level and you have to discuss that with your partner. So there's something about expansion and new horizons with partnership, with the people that you're involved with, that is going to be emphasized at the time of this full moon. You could also be seeing some cracks in the relationship. You could be seeing that, there's things going on in the relationship that make you feel like maybe you're moving too fast, or maybe maybe they're not paying attention enough to the details, or maybe they're getting, more than their fair share. In some way, you may be looking at something that's not quite balanced in the relationship and wanting to resolve that in a big way, in a fair way. Sagittarius is all about fairness. It rules judges and the courts. So it's not that you want more than your fair share, but you may be feeling like you're kind of getting the short end of the stick. Now, with the sun in your first house, Gemini, that's got to feel amazing. That's just going to be great. You're going to feel wonderful, beautiful, handsome, whatever adjective that you want to claim. You're going to be feeling strong. The sun is for strong health and vitality. And you're going to feel that you can accomplish anything. Geminis are a busy sign. They get distracted easily, but that's kind of a misnomer. Actually, what they're doing is they're learning things and gathering and collecting information all the time. So if you're a Gemini rising, you probably are known for this. You're probably known for being pretty chatty, for being able to chat with anyone, to meet strangers, and be able to strike up meaningful conversations with almost anyone, anywhere you go. So this could be in conflict with the person that you are a partner with, whether that's a frenemy, whether that's a lover, a spouse, a business partner, whatever. Or it could be the source of that frenemy relationship. It could be that there's something that's really rubbing that person the wrong way. And maybe now on this Sagittarius full moon, maybe this is the perfect time to resolve it. So Gemini, I've given you a little bit of meat to chew on. I want you to think about the things that I've said, and I know you will because you're a Gemini and you think about everything a lot. And let me know how this full moon hits you. I'm very curious because the Sag-Gemini axis has been so much emphasized for like the last 3 years. We had the eclipses going through Gemini and Sag. We had some really powerful full moons in both Gemini and Sag over the last 3 years. So I'm very curious in how this has affected your life, your career, your relationships, your family. I'd love to hear from you in the comments about this particular full moon and past full moons. So that's what I have for you, Gemini. Now let's move on to Libra. Now, Libra, this full moon is happening in your third house with an emphasis on your ninth house. So it's your third ninth house axis for the Sagittarius moon and the Gemini sun. Let's focus on the moon first. You're going to be filled with a lot of impulses to learn things, to communicate things, to get things across to other people. So you may be particularly chatty during this full moon, and you may be coming up with some brilliant ideas of things that you want to see developed in the future. It could be that you're a little distracted during this full moon. This is a pair of mutable signs after all, and they're hitting a pair of succedent or mutable houses actually. So with the moon in the third house, you may be, thinking about how your childhood education has affected you, and maybe you're focusing on education or educational concepts, even if you're not an actual educator yourself. The sun being in your ninth house means that there's some kind of a benefit or boon coming to you in regards to ninth house matters. Now, if you're a lawyer, that could be in the courts. If you're on the internet, that could be whatever website or channel you run on the internet. If you're involved in like things like outer space, it could be discovering something or somebody naming something after you. There's going to be some sort of a little boon in that area, not necessarily having to do with your career. The moon with the third house emphasis could gain inspiration from this Gemini sun activity in your ninth house and whatever boon that you are about to receive. And you could see yourself in a different way through the execution of these ideas that you're coming up with now. So design ideas, Libra, educational ideas, ideas for new things to write, like a blog or a vlog or a book or an article. There could be lots of things that are stimulating you for creating new content, actually, if you're a content creator. So this Sagittarius moon is very strong for you, and it could also be you wrapping up something really important having to do with the internet or education, early childhood education, higher education, foreign countries, foreign languages, foreign cuisines, foreign lands, the internet, space, outer space, different planets, the space program, different things that go into space, airplanes, rockets, drones, things like that. So all sorts of possibilities, Libra, for what this moon might mean to you, and ideas that might capture your imagination so that your execution of those ideas can capture ours. Very exciting, Libra. Very nice moon. I think you're going to enjoy that. And it could be a real turning point for you in whatever you're trying to do in your life or your career. And now let's move on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, this moon falls in your 11th house, your natural ruler house. And so this is going to be a great full moon for you. You're going to enjoy this a lot. This is going to put a big emphasis, or you're going to find yourself really leaning into the groups that you're a part of, or maybe even starting a group for yourself. This group might have to do with a lot of different Sagittarian themes. That would be foreign countries, foreign languages, philosophies and religions that are not the ones that you were raised with as a child, things that you accepted and gravitate to as an adult. But groups in general. It also could have to do with philanthropy, with things that you give back to. So a lot of times, and especially for Aquarians, they have a strong feeling of giving back once they've hit a certain level. Aquarians are fixed sign. They can be very ambitious, but when they achieve bigly because they're kind of geniuses. Most Aquarians that I know just think differently. They think out of the box. They march to a different drummer, and it pays off. As long as they don't get so fixed that they end up being all alone, as long as they have a partner there to kind of pick up the pieces, pick up their underwear, cook the meals, make sure they have a home and children so that they have some normalcy in their life, most Aquarians really achieve a lot. And then they want to give back. So giving back is a lot of what this full moon is about for you. You would love to be able to start a new foundation or even just a new group in your community for kids to play Little League. The idea of creating community and giving back is very big with this moon for you, Aquarius. Also, you've got the sun in the 5th house, so you're going to want to have fun with it, and that's going to emphasize children as well. Games of chance, love affairs, things like that. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go have a love affair under this full moon, but it's highly likely if you're going to have a love affair, this is the time that you're going to start it. So the 5th house has to do, like I said, with fun, with love, with children, with, love affairs, with children, with games of chance, with how we enjoy ourselves and our pets. Also, I put pets also in the 6th house because we deal with them on a daily basis. But you're going to have fun with this moon, Aquarius. That's the main thing. And you're going to be shown that you're acknowledged for a person who has fun and who helps other people have fun. So it's a big, glorious full moon for you, Aquarius. This Sagittarius moon is one every year that comes along and kind of puts the cherry on it for you because it allows you to have fun. It allows you to engage with groups. And for you, Aquarius, not that you don't have social skills, you do, but the one-on-one relationships are really reserved for you for just a partner or a spouse. You're not a person who has a lot of really close friends, maybe just a few, but what you really thrive in is the group, the bigger group, and that could be a group of 10 or more, I would say. So for you, being involved in groups, even starting your own group, is a real big turn on. And I think that for this full moon to really emphasize that and emphasize having fun is just going to be a gas for you. I think you're going to have a great time on this full moon. And now we're on to the water signs. First sign up is Cancer. Cancer, this full moon is taking place in your sixth house and triggering the sixth house, 12th house axis. So the moon, which is your planet in your sixth house for your daily routines, is really going to vibe for you. You're going to feel like, oh, this is a great moon. I can get all this stuff done and everything's going to be wonderful and my family's going to love me and my work's going to love me and I'm going to be great. But it's in the sign of Sagittarius, and that isn't always a great sign for you, Cancer. However, the moon in Sagittarius in your sixth house is going to have you feeling like you could do things bigger. You could do things better. You could have more people over to eat. You could cook bigger meals. You could write a cookbook. I mean, combining the idea of, you know, different or foreign cuisines and cooking and bigger is better and foreign lands and expanding things, which is all those Sagittarius things mixed in with the moon in Cancer, you could find yourself hosting a humongous group at your house on the full moon, or you could find yourself dreaming about, say, like writing a cookbook or something. Now, this also means that the sun, which is in Gemini, is going to be sitting in your 12th house, and that's your subconscious, Cancer. And that for you is an area that you may not talk about very much, but you're very, very intuitive. So when the sun triggers that 12th house, which is the subconscious, which is your dreams, which is people from far, far away or people you kind of forget about most of the time, like people who are shut-ins, like they live in an ashram or a long-term care facility, or they're a monk, or they're in a foreign land way far away that you can never get to. Or for me, I live on the East Coast and most of my family lives on the West Coast, and I can't get back there to see them very often. It's just too bloody expensive. But Cancer, for you, this 12th house emphasis with the, you know, the subconscious triggers your psychic stuff. So you're going to have some incredibly psychic dreams that you may remember because it's the sun, not the moon, that's in your 12th house. So you may be finding yourself really tapped in to some subconscious things, or you may be really tapped into, say, mediumship right now. It may just really be heightened, and you may find yourself going, oh my God, maybe I could even be a psychic. And so who knows, you know, you're probably already pretty psychic. You're probably pretty intuitive, but with the sun there, that gives you a lot of energy, a lot of chi. It's in Gemini. That's a lot of different thoughts. That's a lot of people talking to you. So I'm getting that you're going to have a lot of connection on a spiritual, intuitive level with a lot of different entities at this time. I know you're not afraid of that stuff, Cancer. I know you can enjoy it, and you can also put up your boundaries because you are a Cancer. So I think you're going to enjoy this full moon, even though it's in a weird sign for you, Sagittarius. I think you're going to have fun. And also, can I come when you have like these 150 people over for a big old dinner? That would be great. I would love that. All right, Cancer, enjoy that full moon, and let's move on to Scorpio. All right, Scorpio. So this full moon is going to fall between your second and eighth houses. And what does this mean? The moon's going to be in the second house and the sun's going to be in the eighth house. So your partner's money is going to be a big focal point, but also your income, earning power, your abilities, your skills, your talents, those are also going to be in focus. So your first impulse, Scorpio, is going to be to check your checking account, check your checkbook, see what kind of, you know, making sure there's no problems with your paycheck coming in, making sure that your bank account is all copacetic, nothing's overdrawn, everything's good, all the direct deposits are set up. But then you're going to be thinking more about, what am I doing to get that paycheck? Perhaps I want to look at improving myself for my job. Maybe I want to get another certificate so I can ask for a raise, or maybe I'm just going to ask for a raise. Maybe I've just been in this job long enough that they should be paying me just a little bit more because I'm a valuable employee. So you might be looking at ways to improve your income that don't mean having to, you know, stop and get like a master's degree in something. That's the first thing you're going to be focusing on, Scorpio. The second thing is you are going to be focusing on you and your partner's money, your investments, and things like that. Or even just, your 401k, your retirement fund, or, if there's a big insurance payout due you or something like that. You may get that insurance payout during something like this where you have the second house, eighth house axis emphasized on a full moon. The moon very often acts as a trigger for certain things to happen to us. But the sun in the eighth house may mean that the focus of your joint finances may crop up, and you may decide that you need to make some changes. Both of these signs, Gemini and Sagittarius, speak about changes, and the moon is about changes. So you may have the idea that you need to upgrade the way your retirement fund is working, or you may want to upgrade your life insurance, or you may want to refinance your mortgage or something like that. So something having to do with the larger sums of money in your life, not just money that you really outright own, but sometimes the debt like a mortgage or a loan or something. You may be reworking that and seeing if you can get a better deal, get a better rate, do it with a different bank, whatever. Or like I said, you may actually be trying to finagle a different way to make income. This is also the time, Scorpio, where you may actually just consider, maybe I need another stream of income. Maybe I need a side hustle. Maybe I need to start doing Airbnb, or maybe I need to start, selling insurance on the side or something like that. So you may be looking at different streams of income to bring into that package so that you and your partner are much more comfortable. So, Scorpio, I think it's going to be a good moon for you, but like Taurus, it's going to sort of be all about your personal business and money, finances and things like that. So, not super super fun, but it is going to be a good moon for you. And finally, we come to Pisces. And Pisces, I apologize that you're always last. I know when I do the elements, I rarely start out with the water signs unless it's a water moon. And even then, I know the first few ones this year, I just did them in regular zodiac order. So I apologize for always leaving you to last. But let's hope that we're saving the best for last. And I think we are. So this full moon hits you across your 10th to 4th house axis, which is a really, really nice place to have it. You and Virgo have that in common this month. So the moon is in your 10th house, which means that you are getting a little spotlight shown on you and people are accepting you. You may be getting to know people better. You may be finding that people are accepting your ideas better. Maybe you've stepped up in your visibility in your job, or maybe you're taking on a position where it's really important for you to be able to relate to the people that you're around, or maybe you're just outright in public relations and you're finding that you have a gift to really connect to people in public relations. So something is very positive happening for you in the 10th house, which is your career, but it's also your legacy. What do you leave behind? And that is glowing, glowing, glowing. Now, the sun in Gemini is in your 4th house, so we're also going to talk about work-life balance or work-home balance. And with the sun in the 4th house, this is going to emphasize the actual home you live in, the real estate that it's on, and the family that's within. So your family may grow. There may be people coming into the family, and that could be even a pet, a new child, someone staying with you temporarily, a foster situation, somebody staying that you're hosting for some reason. Any of those scenarios could pop up. It could also mean that you're thinking about adding on to your home or changing your home, interior decorating, things like that. Minor construction could occur during this, or major construction, or you may decide that you're going to build a whole new home. So lots of emphasis on the home, the real estate, and the family, as well as some emphasis on you in your career. So Pisces, I do think this is going to be a really nice full moon for you. I think you're going to get a few kudos there in the public relations department. And I think you're going to enjoy your family at home, whatever you do with that piece of real estate. So that is it for the 12 signs and all the predictions. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm very, very happy to have you as a subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.